their own lines of underwear, Tone. Would you ever do that?
I'm Tony Kornheiser. I've been trying to sell my show-worn underpants on eBay for years. Trying.
Yeah,
Not
I think
working.
if we eliminate that show-worn part, you may have a chance.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, people want show-worn jerseys or
jerseys
game-worn
is
jerseys.
another story. Underwear?
I don't know, Mike. I don't know. I don't think you're in touch with the real world. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Warriors land Kristaps Porzingis, the Tigers add Framber Valdez, and Troy Aikman joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with the big NBA trade deadline deal that did not happen. The Bucks elected not to trade Giannis Antetokounmpo. The team did listen to offers, but decided to wait until the offseason if they deal him at all. Wilbon, after the endless bobs and feints, how do you make sense of the Bucks' decision not to trade Giannis?
Well, Tony, they didn't think they were getting what they should get, the value they should get. Clearly, that's where Milwaukee's brass is. I think it's disastrous because that team is dreadful without Giannis, and they're pretty bad with him. And Giannis has been, first of all, he's hurt. He's not even in the lineup, all right? So they're going to be dreadful for a few more weeks without him. Now, you could be saying that's their form of tanking in a season where the draft class is supposed to be particularly attractive, and you're going to be in the lottery if you're Milwaukee, and maybe it doesn't matter if you're 8th or 4th or 2nd, you're going to get a good pick, you figure. But Giannis is not going to be there. Giannis is going to be dealt this summer. He can't wind up staying there. What's he going to do? He going to re-up for the rest of his career? I'm not buying that. So I just think this is a mess for Milwaukee eventually. I'll tell you something else, Tony. Ja Morant not being dealt. Ja's so toxic that people are saying, no, you've got to give me a pick and Ja because I don't want him. These are big stars.
Day after day after day, you have said he's going to be traded.
Yes,
he's
I
going
did.
to be traded at the deadline. You started saying that in September and October. And this is not just weeks and months about trading this guy. This is a couple of years now.
It is.
For a couple of years, it has been going on. Does he want to be there? Does he want to go somewhere else? And all he ever says is, I'm not going to ask for a trade. But he indicates he wants to be traded. He trashes coaches and he trashes players. And now he's still there. So let's... You know, to me, I don't really understand what's going on there, but I'll look at the scoreboard. Giannis stays, Harden goes, Draymond Green stays. Those were the 3 big names out there. I'm not going to count Anthony Davis because he hardly ever plays.
Right.
And you know what? Dallas is a disaster. They are a disaster. Trading Luka was the dumbest thing of all time, and the fallout is enormous. But I just... You kept saying that they would trade
Now,
Giannis.
Tony, what clouded this was when Giannis got hurt a week or so ago. That's when all of a sudden there was reasonable pushback. But even then, it almost got done. Even then, Milwaukee was at least listening. I know there's a narrative out there that says, well, Milwaukee wasn't really interested. BS. Milwaukee was listening. And if they got the right offer, they would have dealt him. And now they got to go live with this until June, July? Wow, we got to keep talking about Giannis going somewhere. Meanwhile, the Warriors did not trade for Giannis, but they did deal for your boy, Kristaps Porzingis, Tony. The Dubs finally moved Jonathan Kuminga, sending him and my man Buddy Hield to the Hawks for the Latvian big man. Porzingis has played, just get this now, 17 games this season and only 5 since Thanksgiving. So, Tony, what does this do for the Warriors?
Okay, well, number one, and there only may be a number one in my answer here. Number one, they get rid of Kuminga, who they hated. And that started with Steve Kerr. Like, they didn't want this guy, so they got rid of him. And Kuminga, by the way, is hurt right now. Hurt leads me into what could be number 2, which is Porzingis. And I like him. You mentioned that statistic, only 5 games since Thanksgiving. And in those 5 games, he never went more than 22 minutes. That's not his fault. He has a medical condition that keeps him out. And we all understand that. but you are trading for someone who may not be able to help you. There are long stretches where Porzingis is just a mannequin. And let me repeat again. I loved him with the Knicks. I loved him with the Celtics. When he was with the Wizards, I loved him. I think he's a really good player, but it is just rare for him to get on the court. I think that's a good landing spot because Draymond Green will do the dirty work and he can stand outside and shoot and go inside and block shots, but I don't know how much he's going to play.
Tony, and that governs everything we think about him. I think he could be a really important addition. If Golden State is going to move up, and by move up I mean into the playoffs and not the play-in, maybe they can catch the Lakers, but I don't know. They're pretty far back. Porzingis playing with Steph Curry and Draymond Green is pretty alluring, is it not? I mean, if he's out there for a fair number of games, what do they got? 31, 32 games left, something like that. If he can play 25 of them, then the Warriors,
but he can't play 25. Look at the history. He can't play 25.
I know, Tony. He doesn't speak well. By the way, I want to mention a couple of other deals. Zubats today goes to Indy. It'll be like he's in witness protection because until they get Halliburton back, it doesn't much matter. But I love that move for when Halliburton comes back. As we talked about Vooch with the Celtics, that is underplayed. Happened a couple of days ago. I think the Celtics are going to really benefit from Vooch. And I think Ayo going to Minnesota helps. I like that.
Stop for a second.
What?
Give me 15 seconds.
Okay.
Here. Okay? The Lakers picked up Luke Kennard, who's a great three-point shooter.
Okay.
49.5% from three. That's a remarkable number.
Yep.
That's this year. His career, he's second all-time, 44.2%. He just doesn't get a lot of shots. But if you go to the Lakers with Luka and LeBron, they're going to find you where you can step into a shot. And I'm sure Redick likes him because of the Duke connection. So I think that's a pretty big deal for them. Let us go to baseball. Is he going to
play any defense? They didn't acquire anybody to stop anybody.
It doesn't matter. If you get three and you give up two, you win. The big news is that the Detroit Tigers signed starter Framber Valdez from the Astros for 3 years and $115 million. Last year, Valdez was 13-11 with a 3.66 ERA. But over the last 6 seasons, he has a 3.23 ERA. And Wilbon, you will love this. He's thrown 973 innings, which is fifth most among all pitchers in that time span.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, Tarek Skubal won his arbitration case for a record $32 million next season. So putting that all together, Wilbon, what does this move do for Detroit?
Skubal, Valdez, Flaherty. That's 3 starters. That's like the 1970s, for God's sake. Now, I look, Tony, and in that division with the White Sox and Cleveland and whatever you got, Kansas City, Minnesota, Detroit to me is a heavy favorite. If those guys can stay healthy, and you mentioned the number of innings, I mean, Valdez alone, innings and ERA. I mean, he's out there. He's actually taking the ball every turn and starting like, an old-fashioned model of baseball. And with those 3 starters, Tone, I really love that. And I mean, if you can say to Skubal, look, as long as you're here, let's go for this. We have a chance because we're going to win this division going away. We have a chance to go for this and contend seriously for a championship. I love what Detroit has done here.
Yeah, that 1-2-3 starting rotation at the top of the rotation feels like a World Series contending rotation. It really does. Look, the big news here, of course, is that Skubal is eligible for free agency after this season, for next season. But there might not be a next season season.
Anyway,
so, yes, the Tigers have to ask themselves, do we trade him now or do we pay this money and try, as you say, to win a championship right now? Or do they pass on him and hand the ball to Valdez and say, you be Skubal for us? There is a third option. Time to see if it works. I think Valdez is going to be comfortable in Detroit because this old manager in Houston, A.J. Hinch, is the manager now in Detroit. And again, the top of that rotation, they're not in the National League, okay? No. They're in an easier league to win, I think, and it's very impressive.
And he's the number 2 guy. He's behind Skubal. Yeah. Skubal gives him cover. Yeah. He's got to be more comfortable in that role as well. And then Flaherty. I mean, Detroit's going to – and by the way, Tone, here's why they should go for it. How damn often do the Tigers win a World Series? They're not the Dodgers. Go for it now.
No. The one we mentioned in recent shows was 1968. That's a ways back. Right. Let's take a break. Coming up, Seahawks DB Nick Emmanwori suffered an ankle injury in practice, and we will ask Troy Aikman how big a deal that could be for Drake Maye and the Patriots offense.
We'll also ask him what advice he would give to Sam Darnold.
You know, I always thought, Mike, the Detroit home uni with the Gothic D was the best uniform in baseball.
Clean.
I thought.
Clean. By the way, they won in 84. So 68, okay. 84, you know, they're about.
We are fewer than 73 hours away from kickoff of the Super Bowl. We could not be more pleased to welcome in ESPN's Monday Night Football analyst, Hall of Fame quarterback Troy Aikman. Let me start with this. You have said publicly that this game is a huge challenge and an opportunity for Drake Maye, and he has agreed with you. Can you talk about what makes you say that?
Well, I just think, the opportunity that Drake has in front of him, I mean, all these players for that matter, but to be in your second year in the NFL and to have had the year that he has had, to make it to the Super Bowl, and now with an opportunity to carve out a little part of history for himself with a historic franchise that obviously has won as many Super Bowls as they have. I just think it's a tremendous opportunity for him early in his career to get one under his belt. He'll never then have to answer the question as to whether or not he can win the big game, but he's doing it against a really talented Seattle defense. And we had a chance to cover a couple of games of the Seahawks this year, and they're as good as there is in the NFL, and what Mike Macdonald has done with that group. So it's going to be a real challenge, not only for Drake Maye, but for that entire.
Nick Emmanwori be for Drake Maye.
Well, it's impactful for Seattle. I think that, first of all, John Schneider's done a heck of a job, and that's a big reason, that draft class, and why they've been able to make it to the Super Bowl. And Nick Emmanwori has been a big part of that. He had the ankle injury early in the season. He missed some time. Of course, he has the injury. By all accounts, he's going to be playing. How limited might he be? But he's allowed them the opportunity to play with 5 defensive backs, regardless of whatever the offense has done. And he's a very physical player. I just can't say enough about him, and really all 11 players on that defense. And so you take out a key component that's been so integral in what they've been able to do and the scheme in which they run. It would be a big blow to Seattle if he's limited, or if in fact he's unable to go, which would be beneficial then, of course, to New England and Drake Maye.
When you have watched the Patriots defense, if you could offer a piece of advice or two to Sam Darnold, what would you tell him?
I would say get the ball out of his hand. This defense, it is remarkable that as a group for New England, you start to win some games regardless of who it is you're playing, and you gain confidence as you move through the year. And they had that long winning streak, and they have continued to get better and better. And when you watch them, it's a much different group than what we see out of Seattle, at least within their scheme. And so they bring a lot of blitzes. They're not afraid to bring it on any down. They bring a number of different players. And there are times when you watch them, it's hard to even know exactly what coverage that they're in. So I think for Sam, the key is going to be him trusting his reads, trusting the design of the play, and then knowing that as good as they are up front in their ability to get after the quarterback, he's just not going to have a lot of time to throw the football. And speaking from experience in a Super Bowl, everything is at warp speed to start the game. I mean, there's a lot of adrenaline, there's a lot of emotion. You understand the magnitude of what's before you. Eventually, the game will slow down and it will become another game. And I think the important thing for Sam is, and really for Drake on the other side as well, will be just to weather that initial adrenaline surge. And it could last as long as a quarter, but at some point, like I said, it will calm down. And the key is not doing anything catastrophic early in that football game.
Let me get you out of here on this, and it's the obvious question. You've watched both teams all year. Which way are you leaning now, and why?
You know, I hate to even try to predict, Tony, quite honestly, as to who might win this game. I'm hopeful that it's a close game. I think that I'll stand by this. I do feel that Seattle and we pretty much saw all the teams throughout the year. Seattle, I just don't think there's a weakness on that football team. I think the way that they've been assembled, the way that they're coached, they're talented. They don't make mistakes. They don't beat themselves. And I say that knowing you can say a lot of the same things for New England. New England has arrived probably a couple of years sooner than what most people thought that they might. But I think that's why I think it's going to be a heck of a game. I think people are underestimating New England. I don't feel they're overestimating Seattle, but I think these two teams are a lot closer than maybe people have realized or what's been discussed this week. But I have been extremely impressed with Seattle as far as their makeup, how they're coached, how they play, and the fact that I just don't see any weaknesses.
Pleasure to have you on. It is a joy for us when you're on the show, and you do it regularly. We're grateful year after year. Thank you, Troy.
You're welcome. Thanks, Tony.
Let's take one last break, but still to come, does Lindsey Vohn's workout video add some optimism to her Olympic outlook?
And Michigan State took an L, but not without Jeremy Fears delivering some punishment. Tony, I know Troy wouldn't forget this, but do you know it's been 30 years since he was in the Super Bowl? His last of those
I had no
Super
idea.
Bowls. 30. Exactly.
I had no idea it was 30.
Yeah.
But he has developed casual dressing into an art form on this show.
Troy
he has. Happy time, people. Happy 24th birthday, Cam Skattebo. The Giants' rookie running back suffered a dislocated ankle in Week 8 versus the Eagles and was out the rest of the season after being drafted in the 4th round out of Arizona State. Prior to his injury, Skattebo had 207 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns, and 101 carries for 410 yards and 5 touchdowns. He was the most exciting running back the Giants have had since, well, Saquon Barkley. Skattebo was one of many injured young players for the Giants, including receiver Malik Nabers and quarterback Jackson Dart, who was always in the blue tent. New coach John Harbaugh and your offensive coordinator, who you love, Matt Nagy, they have some talent to work with. They do.
It does seem that way, Tony, if they stay healthy. Look, I got to watch Skattebo in college at Arizona State, and I thought then, this kid can be really terrific in short yardage in certain situations, not at every down back, but I just hope he's healthy. Hope he has that back.
Happy anniversary, Los Angeles Dodgers. On this day 6 years ago, the Dodgers traded for Boston's Mookie Betts. By July, the Dodgers gave the former American League MVP a 12-year, $365 million extension. By October, the Dodgers won the World Series. The Betts deal appears to be the catalyst for what are now back-to-back championships, because after Betts, the Dodgers got Freddie Freeman, then Shohei Ohtani, then Yamamoto and Glasnow and Snell, and then Sasaki and now Kyle Tucker. Betts has averaged 275, 25 homers, and 74 RBI in LA. The Red Sox have won 6 playoff games since he left, and it feels like the Dodgers have won 1 million.
Yeah, Tony, I mean, it's a wonderful cast that they've, assembled there, an ensemble. And Kyle Tucker, who I would not have given that much money, say, if I was the Cubs, and they didn't. But if I'm the Dodgers, I do, because he comes there and joins that group, and it just seems to lift the whole thing even higher.
Happy trails to last night's games for 6th-ranked Gonzaga and 10th-ranked Michigan State. Both teams fell to teams. In that game, State's point guard Jeremy Fears added to his recent reel of chippy play by giving a backward kick up into an opponent's man zone. Fears received a technical foul and some stern words from Tom Izzo, who said after the game, quote, immaturity. If he plays that way, he deserves the tech, and he ain't going to play that way if I bench him the next game, unquote.
It seemed he was off balance. I don't know. You get shoved by a guy who's even bigger than you. I'll have my money on those two teams that lost last night, Gonzaga and Michigan State, being alive for quite a ways in March.
All right, I got one correction. Kirk Gibson had 2 home runs in the clinching game for the 1984 Tigers, but the big home run I referenced when I went like this was Gibson on the Dodgers in 1988, limping around the bases after taking Dennis Eckersley deep.
Yeah.
I remember that because we were coming back from the Olympics in Seoul. right? And it was
Yes.
impossible to stay up for the whole game because
Couldn't do it.
our body clocks were completely
Couldn't do
nuts. All right, let's go to the big finish if we
do it.
could. The Knicks beat the Nuggets in double OT for their 8th win in a row. Is that significant?
It is significant, Tony, since they had a meeting that Jalen Brunson called. They haven't lost. They've been terrific. Lindsey Vonn posted a video showing her doing squats and box jumps on her ruptured left ACL. You have to be impressed.
Box jumps. You
Come
got,
on now.
Listen, everybody is rooting for her. You cannot not root for her.
That's right.
The Philadelphia Inquirer reports that Vic Fangio will return as Eagles defensive coordinator. Is that a big deal?
He's one of the best defensive coaches of his generation, if not the best. Yes, it's a big deal. Finland's Olympic women's ice hockey opener against Canada was postponed because Finland has 13 sick or quarantined players. Your thoughts?
You have to do it to give them a chance, and it's smart because you don't. If there's a virus that's spreadable, you don't want other teams to get it. It works both ways. Last one. The Hornets go for their 8th win in a row tonight. Do you like their chances?
No, not against Houston coming off a loss. That was tough. But they got Kobe White, who I'm rooting for now in Charlotte, back at home for him.
We're out of time. We will try to do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
And I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. By Knuckleheads.
In less